Back on December the 30th, when the world was preparing for New Year, scientists of ISRO, they were at work because they were preparing for the launch of PSLV C-60 mission. In this PSLV C-60 mission, the ISRO, it sent two satellites into space, that was Chaser and Target. However, ISRO's intention was not just to send satellites into space because it has done that multiple times before. The original objectives of this mission was to send these two individual spacecrafts or satellites into space and then merge them or combine them or dock them together into one flying object. Now, a day before yesterday, this process of docking, it culminated and it put India into the league of elite nations, as this milestone earlier of combining or docking two spacecrafts into the space was achieved by only three countries, that is US, Russia and China. Now US, it did that in 1966 and it was followed by Russia in the year 1967. On the other hand, China, which has taken a huge step forward in the space sector, it achieved the process of docking in the year 2011. And this makes India only the fourth country to achieve the docking of two spacecrafts into the outer space. Now you'll ask why ISRO should undertake docking of spacecrafts. Wasn't it able to send satellites into space in huge numbers? The answer to that question lies into the future of ISRO. Because ISRO, it has plans for many years to come, and one of these plans include launching its own indigenous space station termed as Bharatiya Antariksh Station. Now, any space station for that matter, it consists or it can weigh several hundreds to thousands of tons. And do you think is it possible for any space research organization on Earth to send hundreds and thousand tons worth of space station to the space in just one go? The answer is no. So what the space research organizations they do is that they send individual components of these space stations individually into space, and once all the components are into space, then they undertake the process of docking or combining them. And that is why you can construct the entire space station just from the individual components that you have sent individually into the space. Now also, in addition to space station, ISRO also wants to undertake a new mission to the lunar surface, that is Chandrayaan-4 mission. Now this Chandrayaan-4 mission will be very different from the earlier missions to the moon, that it will include or it will allow ISRO to collect the samples from the moon surface. And also ISRO does not just want to collect samples, it wants to bring those samples back to Earth. And this mission, that is Chandrayaan-4, will entail 5 different components. First 4 of which will be sent into the space once, and after that spacecraft collects the lunar samples. So when it is about to reach the Earth's atmosphere, a next module will be sent into space called as re-entry module. So after the module which is returning back from moon docks with the re-entry module, this will allow the lunar surface and the collections of the lunar surface to enter the Earth without any damage. Also, ISRO is planning to undertake human mission to the outer space, that is the Gaganyaan mission, and to support and keep the stations or the humans for the longer duration in space, you need to provide them with adequate supplies. And how do you think you'll be able to give supplies to them? Through the process of docking. That suppose there are many humans into the space and you want to support them through supplies of food and other items, you can always send another spacecraft from the Earth, and after the process of docking, you'll be able to provide them with supplies. So the answer of why ISRO was undertaking this docking mission lies in the future of ISRO. That if it wants to put a space station into the lower Earth orbit, or if it wants to take extraplanetary missions such as Chandrayaan-4, it needs to have the capability of the process of docking. So this is why such an event was a transformational event for India's space sector. Now this brings me to the second part of our debate, that why India, a country where there are crores of people who are living below poverty line, or where the amount of hunger is so much so that millions of people, they sleep without having food in their nights. Also, in terms of education and healthcare sector, India lags behind several developed countries. So there is an ongoing debate in India, which I've heard, that why is India spending billions of dollars in space sector where that money instead could have been used for socio-economic purposes. Now, this kind of a debate, in my opinion, is quite a reductionist debate. And why am I saying this as a reductionist debate? Because people who are arguing for socio-economic development from the exact money that can be used for space sector, they do not know the benefits that the space exploration or space mission provides in our scientific and in our day-to-day life. So let us talk about how space technologies can be utilized in undertaking scientific developments or in our day-to-day lives. First, let us start with scientific developments. Now, you understand satellites which you put in the outer space, they can be utilized for undertaking communication related activities. You can use a satellite phone wherever or whichever place you do not get the mobile phones. Or even we have seen that the satellites, they are even used for providing internet in the far-flung areas. The areas where you cannot deploy your mobile towers or you cannot lay down the fiber cables so as to promote broadband development, even in those areas, the internet can be provided just by the satellite, which again is a space-based object. Also, satellites have been immensely used in recent times to undertake remote sensing activities. As satellites, they can gauge the level of infrastructure, they can gauge the level of greenery or green cover on the earth. In addition to gauging the amount of resources or the natural resources that a land may possess. Or the satellites, they even have the ability to gauge the presence of fishes in different water bodies. So you understand, this kind of missions have multiple applications, that you can understand the levels of agricultural productivity or estimate the levels of agricultural yields. You can assess what areas in a particular water bodies like ocean would have presence of large amount of fish, which is again beneficial for fishing communities. Also, you can utilize the presence of life on a particular piece of land, highlighting many such benefits. So these are the scientific applications of how a space mission, particularly a satellite, can entail for a country like India. Also, in terms of many day-to-day application, these satellites and its related technologies helps us immensely. For example, what you do if you do not have a car or bike to travel to another location. So the natural alternative that you might think is use your mobile, open Ola or Uber app and call for a taxi. Or even you can use Rapido to call for a mobile bike-based cab. So this technology or this possibility of calling a cab and that cab reaching the exact location where you are standing right now has been made possible by the use of navigational services. As these satellites, when they are out in the space, they have the ability to navigate two people onto the exact same location. Further, whenever you travel to another country, you always make sure to take ready to eat food with you. Because whatever may be the reason, if you're not able to find Indian food, Indians in general feel very uncomfortable. So there's no better alternative than to open a ready-to-eat packet, boil it in a water, and voila, you have a good smelling Indian food right at your footsteps. So this highlights that there are many benefits such as ready-to-eat food, which originally was developed for astronauts who were traveling into space, and such technologies are now being used in our day-to-day lives. Also, this was scientific and day-to-day application, and you'd ask, if ISRO was already sending satellites, so what's the need of undertaking exploration to other planetary bodies? And the answer to that question lies in the fact that it is estimated that many of the celestial objects such as moon or other planets, they may possess some of the very rare and critical minerals. And by harnessing and mining those minerals, the human civilization can benefit immensely from the economic point of view. Also, there are efforts going around the world to explore the possibility of a life even on the other planets except Earth. And this might even lead to a fact that, for God forbid many reasons, if we humans are forced to leave Earth because of many changes in its climate, there can be or there should be another planet in which the humans can find refuge. So all of these kinds of possibilities can be made only possible just by the fact that nations need to explore the outer space. Also, as we have understood that such technologies have immense day-to-day and scientific benefits, such as they can be used for remote sensing, they can be used for communication, they can be used for navigation, or the trickle-down technologies such as ready-to-eat food, lithium-ion batteries, anti-scratch glasses, they found applications in our day-to-day lives. So this is the reason why I told you that for a country like India, not just India, but for every country in the world, it must or it should have a space sector or a independent space organizations. And for that, you naturally need a lot of money. Now, India, it is undertaking quite a huge efforts and is undertaking significant achievements in the space sector. But is this the end for India? No. This is where India has just begun. So this was all from my side on this video. Please stay tuned to our Study IQ IS English channel for more such informative takes on ongoing events.